On this episode of The Catholic Accent, we're celebrating milestones in the vocation of marriage and looking ahead to parishes marking historic anniversaries. See the history of the Diocese of Greensburg through the eyes of one of our priests who has been there since its beginning. Plus, we introduce you to the newest young men beginning their formation for the priesthood, and we'll tell you what's happening in the diocese this fall that you won't want to miss. The Catholic Accent starts right now. Welcome to The Catholic Accent. I'm your host, Jordan Wyko. Later this month, Bishop Larry J. Kulick welcomes couples from around the diocese celebrating their golden wedding anniversaries for Mass at Blessed Sacrament Cathedral. New this year is an invitation to those celebrating their 55th anniversary because their Mass and celebration was postponed in 2020 due to the pandemic. Much like those called to the priesthood or religious orders, marriage is a vocation that calls couples to serve God and grow in love, both for each other and for God. Here's the newly engaged Sarah Hartner to tell us more.
Marriage is more than just a commitment between two people. It's a lifelong vocation. We sat down with two couples that share how faith is at the center of their marriage.
Hi, I'm Roy Curlin. This is my wife.
Robin Curlin. We attend Holy Trinity Parish in Ligonier.
Married 36 years this year. Marriage is a vocation just like the priesthood or religious life is a vocation. It has to have God in the center. I was not even baptized when we were married, and I had the intent to become Catholic, become Christian initially, and then Catholic after I looked into the faith, and it's developed our relationship to a much closer level than it would have been if we hadn't had our faith to inspire us.
After he was fully received into the church, that's what really spurred our marriage on, to have to share that same faith and then share it with our children, which is very important to us. And we have 8 children, probably 5 boys and 3 girls. All our daughters and our daughter-in-law are all pregnant right now. So we're about to have 10 grandchildren. The most important part of our marriage, I think, has been having our faith, having God as the center, trusting Him with all our decisions, our family size, how to educate them.
Keeping close to the sacraments is critical to a marriage. It gives you the strength with the graces that come from that to go on even in tough times.
And the other thing is that people don't realize when they're in love that means sacrifice at some point. Maybe sacrificing your wants for your needs to make a more economical household, to be able to afford children.
Once you're married, there's no more me time. It's all our time together. What that means is putting yourself last.
I'm Brittany D'Amico.
And I'm Mark D'Amico.
And together we belong to the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral, where we were married and have since baptized 2 of our daughters.
We've been married for 4 years, so we'll be celebrating number 5 next year.
Yeah.
But what prompted me to propose in front of the church was originally told her we were going to walk to dinner from her townhouse, and the church was on the way. That'd be a great place to do it. It's important to both of us, and it's about as perfect as you can have.
It was perfect. Marriage as a vocation is a valuable vocation. We come together as husband and wife and grow in faith and in love with one another and
To raise our daughters that way. If you're blessed with children, that's a big part of the vocation, and continuing the church, continuing to build the church in that way, be the family.
And of course, keeping faith in the center of our marriage. I mean, faith is what brought me to marriage with him. You know, it wasn't always an easy road to get to him, and a lot of struggles along the way, but I didn't lose my faith and I kept going, and my dreams did come true. Thank you to God. Before we know it, we will be celebrating our golden anniversary and looking back and thinking we were just sitting here celebrating our daughter's baptism. It's pretty
It is crazy,
amazing.
yeah.
If you would like to attend the Golden Anniversary Mass on Sunday, September 28th at Blessed Sacrament Cathedral, contact your local parish in the Diocese of Greensburg.
Still ahead on The Catholic Accent, we introduce you to our newest seminarians who share a connection in their faith.
It's been a vocation of a lifetime and a walk through diocesan history with 95-year-old Father Alexander Pleban, our oldest priest. The Catholic Accent will be right back. Welcome back to the Catholic Accent. At 95 years old, Father Alexander Pleban serves our diocese as our oldest priest. Active until he turned 80, talking with Father Pleban is like learning history about our diocese right from the source, the one who has been here since our first bishop.
The diocese, was formed in 1950, okay? The Pope named Bishop Hugh Lamb as our first bishop, and he's the one that ordained me. And in that time of Bishop Lamb, he built Central Catholic High School. He established like 6 Catholic schools and built, I don't know how many Catholic churches, but he did an awful lot. And then, of course, the bishop of my heart, Bishop Kinnear, maybe because my assignments were so good. One of his first assignments for me was to teach at the high school, okay? So 4 years I taught at Central Catholic. He was very, very, very strong in his support of Catholic schools. Geibel High School was part of his legacy. Bishop Kinnear just wanted to reach out and touch all the people in the diocese. And again, Bishop Kinnear is the one that started the Catholic Accent. He called me in and appointed me to be in charge of the accent. And I was director of pilgrimages and in charge of public relations and radio and communications and that stuff. How did I become a priest? Priests are always asked that question, and some get hit by lightning, others don't, But I have to say, I was born down in St. Cyril Methodius in Fairchance, and the most important person in the whole community was the priest. He was more important than the principal at the school, the police chief, or the doctor. Father Harnack was just a tremendous pastor. And I guess as a young boy, I guess I wanted to be important already or something like that, But I think that's what made me want to be a priest like him. They made me pastor in 1966, okay? In 1966, that's where I think I fell in love of being a parish priest, okay? Of course I miss it. You can't beat that relationship of pastor and a parish. But if I had to say anything, though, I would say to a young priest, your time with the people is limited. You had that time, though, at Mass for the homily. And that homily, to me, in my priesthood, was one of the most important things in my whole priesthood. And it was there where I touched the people, and the people also, I felt, reached back and touched me. Since that was such an important part of my priesthood, that homily, and knowing that this is the time that I have with the people all together, make it worthwhile.
This fall, 2 young men will begin their formation as they prepare to enter the seminary. What is unique is that they are friends, growing up at the Church of St. Anne in Rostraver, where parishioners encourage their vocation.
The first time the thought of going to seminary and pursuing the vocation into the priesthood was a couple years ago when I saw in my church's bulletin an ad for the Melchizedek project for our diocese. The first thing I thought, I'll go to that. I thought it was just going to be maybe a one-day presentation, hey, learn about the priesthood for a little bit. But when I eventually got there, I learned it was a reoccurring meeting with other guys who were discerning, and the person who was leading it at the time was Father Dan Mahoney. Meeting ends, he's like, okay, see you in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks then, Father. And so I kept coming after that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to these meetings to learn about discernment. I should apply these principles that I'm learning, like getting a spiritual director, praying, asking for God's guidance. Kept trying to apply those things, and through that process, I discerned into wanting to apply for seminary. I have many, many lovely people at my parish praying for me, and it's extremely helpful. We had our spring seminarian retreat, so it was my first time actually sit down to kind of hang out with everybody. I got to meet and just sit down and talk to the other guys.
I'm feeling a real pull in my life towards the church and towards serving it in the capacity that priests do with Christ as the high priest, and to follow his will in that regard. I just think it's the parish life and the pastors that we have had that have been good, holy pastors that have set a real example for us, that have showed us the fruits of being a priest, and that has helped us feel the call more visibly and more evidently. Every person who's come up to me has been extremely excited for me and extremely supportive I think a lot of them weren't that surprised. The Holy Spirit puts in them, maybe this guy should be a priest. I'm expecting to really grow in my relationship with Jesus Christ, to grow in deeper and fuller understanding of what it means to be a priest, and to grow my prayer life and to grow in holiness as I'm led through my probadubic here at St. Charles. Well, a good book I read lately is A Priest Is Not His Own by the Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen. I found that to be very insightful as I begin formation to be a priest and to grow in a deeper understanding of what it means to be a priest.
Hundreds from the diocese are set to travel to Harrisburg for the annual March for Life. Just ahead, we will tell you why participation on the statewide level is important.
Major milestones were celebrated in parishes across the diocese. We will share their celebrations with you just ahead.
Whether you are a father, grandfather, uncle, or godfather, Bishop Larry J. Kulick invites all men to attend the Diocese of Greensburg Men's Conference, The Well, A Future of Hope, on Saturday, November 15th at Christ Our Shepherd Center. Hear from Bishop Joseph Espelot from the Archdiocese of New York as he offers encouragement to all men to encounter Christ. The day also includes adoration and reconciliation. For a list of all speakers, our schedule, or to register for the Dynamic Men's Conference, visit dioceseofgreensburg.org/thewell.
Hello, my name is Ashley Frederick. I'm the third-generation family member of Unity Printing located in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. At Unity Printing, we produce digital and offset printing, screen printing, embroidery, signage, trophies, awards, plaques, glass etching, and promotional items. At Unity Printing, we produce all of our products in-house, therefore we can assure that your branding matches across all of our different product lines. In addition, we have a very high accuracy rate, the rate in which we complete jobs without any mistakes, which is always above 99%.
Welcome back to the Catholic Accent. Many parishes around the diocese are celebrating historic milestones this year. John Zilka has more.
They have a combined history of over 500 years of service in the Diocese of Greensburg. In Brownsville, the historic Church of St. Peter celebrated its 180th anniversary. In Youngstown, Westmoreland County, Sacred Heart Parish celebrates its 150th anniversary. And in Freeport, Armstrong County, St. Mary Mother of God Parish prepares to celebrate its 200th anniversary.
The history of this church means so much to me because it's also my family's history. I'm Larry Franks III, and the other two Larry Frankses definitely had a big part of this church. My grandfather was an usher and a council member. My father was a council member for a long time, and he's still an usher. I was baptized here, confirmed here, married here, and it really is a part of our history and a part of our town's history as well. So in April we celebrated our 180th anniversary. The history of our church actually goes back to 1754, when the French forces on their way to fight George Washington at Fort Necessity said Mass right here in our site. Our church was built in 1845. It's the third church built on the site. Our anniversary was in April, but really we're celebrating all year. 180 years is really special to us, and we want to share that with everybody. If you want to come see our church, we do have the oldest building in the diocese. We predate the Diocese of Greensburg, and it's really something special you have to see for yourself. If you want a tour, always ask me. I'm here and I can show you around. I can show you the crypt. I can show you upstairs. There's a lot of stuff I can really share here at St. Peter's.
We're here at Sacred Heart Parish in Youngstown, Pennsylvania. So we had a kickoff to our 150th anniversary. So we had a celebration that was in mid-May. Bishop Kulick came in, and we also invited previous pastors in. This is not the only event we're having. We are going to see about having a polka party. And then in October, we're going to have the Archabbot come in to have Mass with us. Anyone who wishes, we'll all have dinner together and have a nice little celebration as well. We're getting a good number of people who are moving back into the parish, and so that adds for hope for the future. When you have an opportunity to celebrate a milestone like 150 years, my last parish was a big to-do when we hit 50 years. This is 150 years. Quite a milestone, I think.
Well, one of the nice things that I've learned here about the history of St. Mary is that we have a lot of people that have been here for a long time and have seen some of the changes. And when I got here, some of the changes to the church, as we know, trying to get back to its original look. were very much appreciated by the people of the parish.
So the original building, when the parish was founded in 1826, the first church was built and consecrated in 1831. The story says, as legend, that the church was built of inferior brick. The church subsequently was ripped down, and the present church was built and completed in 1849. In the new year, we will be celebrating 200 years as a parish family. The parish at the time when it was established by the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. The Diocese of Pittsburgh didn't really exist at that point. There's a lot of history and a lot of beautiful things occurring, especially with the parish that's 200 years old. Our doors are open for everybody and anybody that wants to join our parish. We truly hope to be here another 200 years plus.
Travel with us to Rome, the Eternal City, for our next Know Him experiential event at Christ Our Shepherd Center on September 25th. We take you into the Colosseum to learn its significance for early Christians, into the catacombs for a look at how early Christians celebrated their deceased, and on to finding out why the Pope is based in Rome. Space is limited for the 2 and 6 p.m. sessions, so register now at dioceseofgreensburg.org/knowhim. The Office of Faith, Family, and Discipleship is holding 2 events aimed at helping form disciples of Christ. On October 8th, Bishop Kulick invites all homeschooled families for the annual Homeschool Mass at Christ Our Shepherd Center. This day features a listening session for parents and activities for the students. The event is free and details are at dioceseofgreensburg.org. Also in October, join us for the Kerygma Discipleship Retreat, October 10th through the 12th at Christ Our Shepherd Center. The retreat invites you to form a meaningful relationship with Christ and serves as a model for us to live that faith in a modern world. Register now at dioceseofgreensburg.org/kerygma.
When we come back, see how your faith can help shape tomorrow's priests.
And I'll explain why the March for Life in Harrisburg this month is important for our statewide pro-life movement. The Catholic Accent will be right back.
Welcome to the Pantalone Funeral Home. As a family-owned business and staple of the Greensburg community for over 50 years, we are here to support you and your family during your most difficult times. Regardless of your preferences or needs, we will consult with you to provide you with a service that is unique and reflects on the deceased's personal life and memory. If you are considering pre-arranging your own service, the arrangements you make will reflect your exact wishes and will help to ease the burden of your loved ones. For more information, please visit our website or call for assistance.
Whether you are a father, grandfather, uncle, or godfather, Bishop Larry J. Kulick invites all men to attend the Diocese of Greensburg Men's Conference, The Well, A Future of Hope, on Saturday, November 15th at Christ Our Shepherd Center. Hear from Bishop Joseph Espelot from the Archdiocese of New York as he offers encouragement to all men to encounter Christ. The day also includes adoration and reconciliation. For a list of all speakers, our schedule, or to register for the Dynamic Men's Conference, visit dioceseofgreensburg.org/thewell.
During life's most challenging moments, trust and compassion are paramount. At Frank Caper Funeral Home in Scottdale, PA, we've been a source of comfort and support for nearly 70 years. We believe in celebrating lives with dignity and respect, offering personalized services tailored to your needs. Our dedicated team is here to guide you through every step, ensuring a meaningful and heartfelt tribute. Frank Caper Funeral Home, where your family is our family. Visit caper.com or call us today.
Welcome back to the Catholic Accent. This month, hundreds from around the Diocese of Greensburg will travel to Harrisburg for the March for Life to make their voices heard. We sat down with Deacon William Newhouse, Director of Family Life and Pro-Life Ministries, who tells us why the march at the state level is important for the pro-life movement.
Before I was ordained, I went on several March for Lives on the national level. And it got me interested in working at the grassroots level of like how we don't have to let things just happen. Where I became passionate about it after being ordained, I mentioned to someone that I wouldn't mind going to the March for Life, and just being a part of that gave me the spirit to really get more involved. In the diocese, many parishes have a Walking with Moms in Need ministry. It's supporting those young women, those families who have chosen life, and supporting them moving forward. Sometimes the church is accused of just caring about the baby, saving the baby, and then doing nothing after that. With Parishes getting involved with the Walking with Moms in Need program, it really is a witness to show that we aren't just a one-dimensional thing about saving the baby. We're also for the family and for the life of that child. I just visited a pregnancy resource center. The Knights of Columbus were working on getting their ultrasound updated. And just taking a tour of that facility and seeing what they offer the young moms and young families is very heartening. With the Dobbs decision a couple of years ago, it basically sent the abortion issue back to the states. And it's at the state level that we have to make a difference now. The 5 buses that we have leaving from the diocese, leaving anywhere between like 5:15, 6 a.m. At 10 o'clock is the rally. Around noon will be the march itself. And following the march around the Capitol complex, there will be a closing Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Following that Mass, we'll be meeting Representative Eric Nelson. He will have a reception for us. We'll be meeting him and other legislators that we have invited. They will be giving a talk about what they're doing, what's going on in Harrisburg, and then we'll be getting on our buses and heading back home. At least for the near future, I don't see it coming to an end. That would be a dream, that someday that there would be rights for all life. As long as sin abounds in the world like it does, it's kind of hard to say that the need for the mission of life will go away. But until that happens, I think we'll be marching on the capitals.
The march in Harrisburg happens on September 22nd. For more information about the march or other pro-life activities in the diocese, visit dioceseofgreensburg.org.
From God's call to your generosity, the work of many hands is building the future of our church. It's a story of faith, family, and formation. Here's Father Tyler Bandora to tell us more.
The calling of God is a very unique experience that every man has. It comes about in so many different ways. Sometimes a young man, or one being called, might experience that voice of God through another person. It might come through sacred scripture, or perhaps even through some encounter they have in life. The unique way in which God calls each man to discern their vocation is a great blessing. And then from that voice that the Lord speaks, the man continues to grow in his understanding of that call through his prayer life, through the sacraments of the church, and through his work with the director of priestly vocations. And so we continue to give thanks to God for all these ways in which the church provides to those individuals being called as they discern their vocation. God plants the seed, and in a noisy world, he invites men to silence, to listen, to respond.
We know that family life is at the very center of all that we are. The very first seminary is our family. The family is the seedbed of the faith, and also the first place where young people are able to discern that call in which God is asking them to give their life for Him. Families are where we see love being learned, sacrifice being modeled, and the faith being handed on. But it is that environment that also helps all of us to grow and to pass on our faith to each other.
Before a man ever steps into a seminary, he has been formed, often by parents whose yes to life made his yes to God possible.
Many of our parishes, including here at St. Agnes, there are a number of laity that regularly pray for priests. I think that's certainly the most important way in the foundation is that life of prayer. But beyond that, I know that in our diocese, many of our parishes have vocation teams that have done a lot of different work in some really, really creative ways of raising an awareness of a culture of vocation, where we pray together, where we pray the rosary, where we say grace, where we come to Mass, where we stop in and spend some time in Eucharistic adoration and learn to really to listen to the voice of God.
In every parish, God is planting, and where priests walk closely with young men, vocations take root.
It's really important for the lay people to have a role in promoting and encouraging vocations and vocational discernment in our diocese. Those who are in the pews have a great idea of those in their congregations who might have the traits that might make them a good priest or religious sister or religious brother. And so it requires all hands on deck to build a culture of vocations and to provide that encouragement for young people to listen to the Lord's call.
Seminary formation is the workshop where the heart of a priest is formed. Here, the hands of God, working through the church, shape shepherds after Christ's heart.
As we walk with these young men on their journey, it's quite interesting to see their development and their knowledge. And we have a young man from St. Margaret Mary's who's just beginning his first year of theology. He did his 4 years at Gannon and got his undergraduate, and he is just so interested and wanting to become a priest that is so glorifying to see. You know, to pray for them and to help them financially is what I think we have to do. I know the education I went through and how much it cost. And it took me like 20 years to pay it off, and that was nothing compared to what it is now. But I'm thinking, you know what, these people need a little extra help financially and spiritually.
What led us to become more involved in the seminarian fund and support the fund more is getting to know the seminarians when they first began their journey, just as people, not as future priests. And they're just wonderful young men. They're wonderful people, and it's been a joy.
Our giving has really significantly changed our life, and it's deepened our faith a great deal. It gives us a great deal of comfort to know that we're helping not only in the present but in the future, because the type of person that is developed and becomes a future priest affects the lives of many.
If you're interested in supporting the future of our church, visit dioceseofgreensburg.org to learn more about giving to the Seminarian and Clergy Formation Collection.
That's it for this edition of The Catholic Accent. I'm Jordan Wyko. Thanks for watching.